everybody, and welcome to our new episode of Woman Lovin' 101, a 13-plus advice podcast where we answer your questions. I'm Hollis, and I'm here with Shay.
Hello.
I felt like we should introduce ourselves, because I forgot to do that last episode. I'm like, no one knows who we are.
Do they need to? Is being known really, like, a thing you want to do?
Maybe when we're doing a podcast it is.
It's debatable.
How are you doing today, Shay?
I'm doing pretty good. I just got back from my town's, like, spring fair, sold a lot of plants, and, took a lot home for free as, like, I guess, compensation, because I was just volunteering.
Oh, I see. Cool. What kind of plants did you get?
I have 3 tiny little spider plants and a Christmas cactus, and my mom's mad because I'm currently home from college now, and I'm keeping the spider plants in our family room on a mantle instead of in my room, because if I keep them in my room, my cat will eat them.
Oh, that's right. Thomas is addicted.
Yep.
I have a pretty exciting announcement. I finally got the wax off my favorite pair of joggers.
Yay, and we're so proud of you. Look at that,
only
self-sufficient.
3 months. But if anyone was concerned listening to this thinking like, oh, they have wax on their favorite pair of pants and they haven't gotten it off yet, who are they to give me life advice? Well, I have it off now, so you can trust me again.
And the world's a better place for it.
Alrighty, should we get into our questions?
Sure. Would you like to go first?
Yeah, I will go first because I'm first on the question list I made. Sorry, I guess that wasn't as funny as I thought it was. So this one's from an anonymous user on Tumblr. How do I know if a girl's flirting with me? Help! My favorite thing about this question is there's no context, so we have no idea what's happening.
You know, I think I'm very bad for giving advice for this manner, because I'm flirty in context where you wouldn't know, but very dry in context that you should. For example, I'm very dry when I talk to people on, like, dating apps and stuff, which is bad because you're there to flirt. Yet I'm very flirty if I am, say, you know, at a party or something.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess is also a context you can meet people in. But I'm not good where it really counts. So I think that sometimes situations can be hard because of people like me, so I'm sorry. But as a avid flirter, I would say, I hate that I just gave myself that title, I really do. I would say that you really want to look for, like, body language, because people will just say things that are suggestive, but we don't really mean it, I found. So, so you really have to pay attention to body language, as in, like, are they leaning towards you? Are they very open towards you? And things like that.
Yeah, I'd say first look at it like, are you interested? If you're not, then just assume it's friendly. And then if they're like, hey, you want to date? You're just like, oh, I thought you were just playing, and then cross that bridge when you get there. But if you are interested and you're like, I like this person, are they flirting with me, or are we just friends? I don't know, be direct. That's what I find. Just say, hey, I like you. When I first met my girlfriend, we were going to the same community college, and she sat behind me in class, and every time she talked, I would look full around and, like, stare at her, because I was, like, I had such a huge crush on her. And every time she told a joke, I would, like, turn around to look at her and laugh. And she was like, I liked you because I never had to guess with you. And I didn't have to guess with her either. Like, we were talking, like, for 2 months before we started dating. And the whole time we were, like, very clear that we both liked each other. Like, I would ask her, like, oh, what was your gay story? How'd you know you were gay? And then she would tell me, and then I told her mine. And then I ended it with, like, yeah, and then I liked this girl in high school, but nothing ever went anywhere. And now I'm in college, and I'm, like, currently texting this girl I really like. So, like, if you like her and you want her to go somewhere with her, tell her is my advice. I don't think you're ever gonna get anywhere by guessing, especially because with Willowa there is such a stereotype that tends to be true. We just don't know. I've seen a couple advice blogs where people are like, does this girl like me? And then, like, 3 asks later, they're like, haha, turns out we were on a date and I didn't even know it. So, like, just be direct is my advice.
Want to know something? The opposite has happened to me, where I've assumed that it's been a date, and it hasn't been. Twice.
Well, that's a terrifying story to tell our listeners and fill them full of fear. No, it's
See,
true.
but that
There's a
wouldn't
risk of
happen.
that.
That wouldn't happen if you're just direct.
That's true.
So now I am.
Yeah. You go, hey, is this a date? And if they go no, you go, oh, okay, I really like you, so I'm gonna go cry now. But if they go, yeah, then you're like, woo, score. Yeah, the way I see it, you can either be trapped in this purgatory of just like, do they like me? Do they not like me? Or you can put yourself out there. And if you put yourself out there, it's high risk, high reward. So you might get hurt or you might find it works out well, but there's no risk, no reward, and just constant stress if you just sit there guessing.
Remember, you're a 10, so don't let a 5 get you down.
That's true. If you listen to the show, you're a 10 automatically.
Automatically, yeah. And if you, like, say, review this show on iTunes or recommend it to a friend, you're like a 13.
Mm-hmm. If you recommend this show to your friends, I will personally come to your house and date you. So that's all reward. No risk, baby.
If you recommend this show to a friend, I will come to your house and I will do your dishes and your laundry.
Aw. Do you separate your colors and your whites?
Yeah.
I don't.
And my darks. And my delicates. And my, like, sheets and towels.
You just wash all the colors together, but with cold water, and then you don't have any bleeding.
Oh, I do that too, but I don't trust it because I've still had bleeding in cold water.
I've never had an issue. Do you want to move on to the next question, Shay?
Oh, I was really happy talking about our laundry routines because this is like a passion of mine, but that's fine.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you have more to say about laundry.
I do. So you can buy special bags for to wash garments in, like bras or anything that has a lot of like strings or straps, and they're lifesavers because I have spent 10 minutes before untangling a bra from like 3 other things, and it's a nightmare.
Yeah, my grandma has one of those. She also always hooks cut bras together before washing them so that they don't get all tangled up, and that works pretty well.
Oh, that's so smart. I never thought of that. Okay, enough about laundry.
If you're sure. If you got it all out of your system.
I haven't, but I feel like it'll be more enticing if I sprinkle it throughout instead of just giving you my entire laundry routine in one block, you know? It's a story.
That's true. Do you think dryer sheets are real, or do you think they're just chemicals, like, that don't exist other than to sell you something? Like, do you think they work?
My friend uses them and he swears that they work, but I think I, as a person, have an unnaturally high amount of static electricity, so I don't really care. Plus, if you just use a wire hanger, it gets rid of the static.
Oh, I thought they were for softness, not for static. I have no idea what they're for.
Oh, they have those too, but he has them for static.
Yeah, I've never bought into it. I've used them before, I've used them not before. It's the same to me. And this concludes our laundry segment.
Stay tuned for more. So, thank you for coming to Women Loving Laundry 101.
Welcome to Women's Laundry 101.
Women's Laundry 101. We don't have to change any of the branding.
Yeah, it's still
Okay.
WL.
So, Hollis,
Yes.
what are some good Willowa content that you like in any forms of media? So maybe because there's a lot out there, maybe you could just give like 1 or 2 of your favorites.
Yeah, so this is really easy for me. It's a game called Butterfly Soup. You don't need to be good at video games to play it because it's like a visual novel kind of thing. It's just you make choices, and it's not stressful or anything because your choices don't affect the ending. The ending's always the same. It just affects where the conversation's going. So like if your friend asks you like, hey, would you eat a tiny person for $1 million? If you say yes, she goes, no, don't do that. And if you say no, she goes, oh, I know you're a true homie now. But yeah, it's for free on itch.io. I think is how you say that. It's pay what you want. So if you have money, you should totally support the creator. She's awesome. But it's just an adorable little story about 14-year-old girls finding their way in high school, and it's about friendship. And it's explicitly gay. It's none of that like coded or anything. They actually are in love. There's a bi girl too who's excellent. She's very funny. And it's just like a little 3 to 4 hour game depending on your reading speed, and it's fun to play with friends, and I love it. I've played it 100 times now.
What character would you say you're most like, just so they have something to look forward to?
I think I'm most like the character Min. She is very baby butch in that she has these big, strong feelings and she doesn't know what to do with them. So every time her crush is like, hi, she goes, I would kill someone for you. And I think I relate to that in a lot of ways because I'm always telling my girlfriend that.
That does seem like something you'd say.
Yeah, her intensity, and she's also very short, so she has a lot of intensity in this very small body, and I think that's very my brand. What kind of content do you like, Shay?
So, I don't read a whole lot, especially of like contemporary fiction or I guess like YA. Mostly I read like poetry from the Romanticism,
So Shay
which
recommends The
is
Price of Salt.
first of all, 1940 is past the Romanticism, thank you. I firmly believe that Emily Dickinson is one of us. I firmly believe it. Some people hate her poetry, some people love it. I love it. I don't really read things a lot, I don't really watch things, but I do listen to a lot of Willowa artists. Obviously, I've talked about her many times, and I will talk about her many more. I love Katie Lang. I love her a lot, and you should listen to her. I also really like Japanese Breakfast. She is a dream pop artist. My favorite song, and I think also one of her most popular songs, is Everybody Wants to Love You. And I like Joanne Baez. And Sophia Wang, if you're more into pop, has a really nice song called Boys Aside.
Ooh, that was good, Shay. I think I'm gonna check them out. I like pop. Usually when people say like Willowa artists, they tend to be like really sad indie rock bands. So
Yeah,
I didn't know there was so much Willowa pop out there.
you know, I listen to a couple, but honestly, nothing gets me going like listening to Boys Aside with my windows down. Like, it's such a fun, nice song.
Ooh, I should download that. Have some road trip
And
music for the
it's,
summer.
yeah, and it's really nice to have that in like pop music, like, I guess, quote unquote, radio friendly music, so that we're not just like in some like dark corner, like playing shoegaze all the time.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, like, listen, I love my fair share of sad indie rock, but it's also nice to be like, yeah, we could get on the radio.
Yeah.
This sounds like something that you'd hear the top 40s.
I feel like we're probably obligated by law to say Tegan and Sarah.
I hate Tegan and Sarah.
I know.
You
But
can
they,
crucify me. Crucify me.
yeah, I like their song Stop Desire and Closer you probably heard because it does play on the radio. So there's some good radio-friendly lesbians.
Like, if you like them, you can keep liking them.
I like Tegan and Sarah. They're pretty diverse. So they've got their like sad girl indie rock and they've also got their fun pop songs.
Oh, maybe I just haven't heard any of their fun pop, and then I'd love them.
Oh, yeah, pop music. We should listen to some of their pop after this. Maybe you'd like it a little more.
We should, yeah. Japanese Breakfast is very similar. Like, Everybody Wants to Love You is very poppy. Not quite radio pop, but like close enough. And the rest of their music is a little bit more indie, shoegazy, lo-fi.
I love lo-fi music. You recommended so many Willowa artists. I feel like I should think of another one. Any good romantic movie, such as Shrek or Princess Bride, if you pretend that the male lead is a he, him, butch lesbian.
For some legitimate ones, Barbie, Princess and the Pauper
Oh,
is
I fucking love that
my
shit as a kid.
favorite.
Oh,
I know.
that one was so good.
It's the best. Like, my friend Lenore swears that it's not the best Barbie movie and it's a low-tier Barbie movie. And I just, it was almost the end of our friendship, but I pulled it together and I said, Shay, you both agree that Barbie as Rapunzel is good, so you can't argue about this one.
I haven't seen that many. I had Fairytopia on DVD and that one sucks, but I'll forever have the line stuck in my head of, hey Shay, what do you call a wingless fairy?
I don't know.
Who would ever want to call a wingless fairy?
That's so mean.
I know. That's always been stuck in my head for years.
So wait, this is a very important question. What is your favorite Barbie movie?
I haven't seen that many. I always wanted to see the Rapunzel one. Should we have like a movie night where we watch all these Barbie movies? Because I really miss Princess and the Pauper.
I think we should. There's somewhere along the line that the
Link,
CG gets really bad.
I'll close my eyes.
No, no, I meant like in the series, not in that one movie.
Oh, okay, okay. That's good.
I have no idea if they've aged well. I really wish they have.
I bet they have in our hearts at least.
Oh, in our hearts, obviously. Yeah, my new laptop, for some reason, I have like tried removing like every browser extension I have, changing all of my settings, whatever, will not run Neopets. It won't even display the images of it.
That's right. I remember you saying that. It might just be that Neopets. Oh, you know what? I think it's just that Neopets was very broken because they recently changed to Jumpstart, and Jumpstart's not been taking very good care of the site. They fired a lot of moderators and stuff, and the site went down the rabbit hole for a while. And I recommended it to a friend, and she was trying to play on it, and she's like, "Oh, the whole website's broken?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I don't think that's just you. I think that is the website. It might be back up now."
They also, wait, is Jumpstart like an alternative to Flash?
No, it's just the name of the company that took over. It was, I think there was one in between Nickelodeon and Jumpstart, or it might have just been Nickelodeon to Jumpstart, but it's just the name of the company that took over.
No, I think there was one in between. I know that Flash is like shutting down. So all Flash games have either already stopped working or will in the very near future. And almost all of their games are Flash games, or at least like half of them.
Yeah, I think all of them are. Well, before the death of Neopets, everybody, come add me. Flame of the Fox, no spaces. Come be my friend.
Okay, but like speaking of Neopets and the Neopets archives, did you ever read like the comics that you could find like deep, deep down?
Yeah, I really liked the, gosh, what was the name of the underwater world? I really loved their plot line.
Oh my God. And the one, did you start on the one with the pirate that gets like saved by like a beautiful mermaid?
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Oh my
The
God.
squirrel
Yes.
pirate Usagi. No, that's not what he was called. Usels? I don't know how to. So
Yes.
confession.
Yes.
I've
Yes.
never known how to pronounce any Neopet ever. I would
Neither
be
have
like,
I.
yeah, I'd be go to like elementary school. And I'm like, yeah, check out my new Akaraka. And I'm like, do you mean Akara? And I'm like, oh, maybe.
I didn't know anyone else who really played it besides my sister, so however she said them, I said them. So we were both right. And
Yeah.
I owned exactly, they shortly ran a magazine, and I had one copy of it.
Oh, I had that too. I got a year-long subscription right as they canceled. So I got 3 magazines, and then they sent me 9 webkins to fill out the year. And I'm like, I didn't want this.
They couldn't have sent you like any other merch. Oh my God.
I know, but I cherish those so close to my heart.
Neopets did so much lore building, Webkins could never.
I know. Well, I think this concludes the session of What's Good Willowa content, to which our answer, I suppose, is Neopets.
God, yes. Top tier.
All right, this next question's a little bit more serious. My GF and I have been dating for a while. Some of her friends make me uncomfortable, and I don't like being around them, but she always wants to do things with them and is upset when I don't want to join them. How do I tell her this?
Trying to gauge how harsh I want my answer to be. Because I could be very harsh. I think that people like the company of different people for many different reasons. But I have also heard the phrase, tell me who you walk with and I'll tell you who you are. I think that it's very important to know with whatever they're doing that makes you uncomfortable, whether or not she condemns it. Because, you know, if she sees no problem with it, then there's a much more serious issue of if she also doesn't quite like it, but just doesn't openly say anything to their faces, which is also not great, but a little bit different than saying absolutely no problem.
Yeah. You know, I would say there's a couple different ways the scenario might be going down. It might not be that the friends are doing something bad, like, for example, making, like, really tasteless or, like, really bigoted jokes or something like that, and your girlfriend's just kind of like, heh, heh, heh. If it's something like that, of course you want to pull her aside and be like, hey, this makes me uncomfortable. And you might find that she didn't think it was much of a problem, and she might change for the better and be like, oh, you're right, you know, that isn't very cool. Or she might be like, oh, yeah, I'm uncomfortable too, but, like, a lot of times when you're, especially in, like, high school and college, you have, like, these little friend groups for convenience and proximity's sake. So, like, they're just kind of around. They're not their favorite person. And they're like, oh, yeah, I felt that way too, but I didn't want to be the only one in the group saying something. That might be the case too. So it's always good to pull her aside and talk about it. And definitely make sure you're coming from a place of like, oh, this behavior made me uncomfortable, and not your friends are bad people, because that's going to put her on the defensive.
And depending on what type of person she is too, you might want to like get specific examples.
Because when you say like, you did something and I didn't like it, the other person's like, what did I do? I don't know.
It's always better to address them sooner rather than later, because I've also been talking to people and then like a week or more later, I'll be like still thinking about something and thinking, oh, that made me pretty uncomfortable, or I really didn't like that. But then by that time, I've really forgotten what they said. So when I bring it up, they say, well, I don't remember.
Yeah, for sure. You don't want to be bringing this up weeks after. I mean, I can understand it being very uncomfortable addressing it in the moment, especially because you might be putting someone on the spot, which might not be how you want to approach it. Sometimes I feel like you need to, because that's the way some people only respond. But for sure, if it's like they said something shitty when you're hanging out, like when you're home with your girlfriend that day, or like hanging out the next day, or if you can call her or something and just be like, hey, this happened and I didn't like this.
So
know
while it's
that
not
your
ideal,
comfort is worth it too. Like really understand that it might be uncomfortable and it might feel like you're making a big deal out of nothing, or like, you know, ruining the group dynamic. Just know that your comfort is worth it. And if there's somebody else in the group, or if your girlfriend was uncomfortable, that she would want you to tell her so you guys could work on that together.
And if she doesn't want you to tell her, then that's something that needs to be addressed, and you shouldn't stay in any type of relationship or friendship or anything just because you really want it to work out, except there's this and this and this. If there's a serious problem, there's a serious problem regardless of how you feel about them otherwise. You can't say, oh, well, they're great and all of this stuff, and then say, except for like this and this major thing.
I would say too, there's another thing to look at this, that it might not be that the friends are doing anything wrong. It might just be like all her friends like action movies and you really don't like action movies, or they're kind of huggy and you're not very huggy, and that's not like a bad thing. But I would say in that case, establish boundaries. Maybe say to your girlfriend like, oh, it's not that I don't like your friends, I just don't like going to action movie night with them like every 5 nights. Maybe you and your friends could come bowling with me, so that way we're still having fun with your friends, but we're doing something I want to do too.
And if it is something like that, I have found a lot of people don't like to hear this. It's okay to not do things with the person you're dating all the time, which I know sounds very simple, but I know a lot of couples who one person will do something with their friends the other person doesn't want to do, and they're like, oh my god, like I'm so upset. They want to do this, but I don't want to do it with them. Or I want to do this, but they don't want to come with me. It's like, cool, don't do it together. And I feel like it's something that you think that you know until you're there, and then you think, oh, but if we don't do this together, that's awful. It's like, no, it's not awful. You have your own lives, and if they don't want to come to action movie night with you and your friends, that's fine. That can be for you and your friends. And also, it's important to remember that if you had these friends before you started dating someone, that they're your friends first, and they deserve similar amounts of attention to them as you gave them before your relationship.
Especially when you're in a new relationship, it's hard to step back and feel comfortable. Like, yeah, awesome, you should go kayaking with that person, but I'm scared of the water. Like, you gotta get into this mindset of you don't have to be together all the time. You're not any less in love if you're not together all the time, and that it's okay to spend time away. Then you get to tell each other about your day at the end of it and be together then.
And if you're always doing things together and never doing things with any of your friends, then you risk losing those friends. It's bad for you because now the only friend that you have is the person you're dating.
Yeah, and you never want that. Yeah, the person you're dating should be a close friend, but never your only friend, because that puts a lot of pressure on them to be there for you 24/7, when you should have other people that you turn to for other things.
And it's very dangerous because if something happens, you have no one else there. And I feel like in every single question, I'm always like, this is all the bad things that could happen. This is what happens if you break up. This is what happens if, like, when you should break up. This is this and that. Everything's gonna be bad. And you're always like, this is the best solution. So it's a good thing we're doing this together.
Yeah, we got the optimist and the pessimist.
Here is our 4th question. I'm in college and don't have much money or time. What are some cheap and convenient foods?
Bananas. End of question.
End of question.
I don't think I eat well, but I think what's most important is that you eat.
Mm-hmm.
I think people can get caught up on like health and calories and all that. And if you have the time and the headspace to worry about that, then yeah, make sure you're eating balanced and make sure you're eating healthy. Don't ever care about calories because that doesn't matter. But I feel like when you're pressured for time and you don't really have the luxury of like thinking about what you're eating and if you've been eating enough calcium, then I think you should just really eat things you like and eat when hungry, stop when full, and just make sure that you're eating.
Mm-hmm. As for individual food things, I survived a whole semester off of instant mashed potatoes.
Yes, they're very good.
Here's a hack. Here's a little life hack. A little dorm room life hack that it only works if you have a microwave. So, get a container of chicken broth. Get one of the cartons, don't get a can, because I have heard from my mother, so I don't know if this is just an old wives' tale, heard from my mother, it is bad to store food in aluminum cans in your fridge. I have no proof behind that. I'm just afraid. Because she told me to be. You get a carton of broth, whatever kind, if you're vegetarian. A lot of places have vegetable broth. The only place I haven't seen it are in like specialty corner stores or whatever.
Yeah, your like average Walmart or grocery store is gonna have vegetarian broth.
Yeah, so get whatever kind of broth that you want. Chicken broth, beef broth, veggie broth, whatever. Get a carton of it because they're very easy to store. Then get ramen and get instant mashed potatoes and get ginger. Now, for the ramen, like powdered ginger, don't buy fresh ginger. It's not worth it. It is worth it if you like cook, but it's not worth it for this. Trust me. So, when you make the ramen, save the flavor packet, then make it with the broth instead of water and the ginger and a little bit of salt because you no longer have the salt from the flavor packet. Also, I love salt. It's bad. So make it with that. Then with a flavor packet, I've only tried this with chicken. I have no idea how it tastes with the other kinds. Add it to your instant mashed potatoes. Because when you eat enough instant mashed potatoes, they all taste the same and they just turn into like a paste. And it's like flavorless paste and it's gross. It makes it so much better and they taste so good with the ramen packet. So that's my little tip for you.
I'm not sure that would be as good with the vegetarian ramen, which is soy sauce flavored, the only type of ramen I can eat because I'm a vegetarian. Similarly, if you need more vegetables in your very cheap diet, what me and my dad used to do is we'd make a big pot of like a couple packages of ramen, and then we would, you don't want to make too much in advance though, because the noodles will really start to soak up everything. And then we'd boil some spinach and we'd put a little bit of that green boiled spinach water and a lot of the boiled spinach and mix that with our big pot of ramen. And then we'd add some more spices. My dad really likes sriracha, so he'd add that. I'd add like some sesame oil and stuff and we'd add spices. And then we have like spinach ramen soup. And it's a little more interesting than just your boring like 40-cent ramen package. And it's also good for you because there's spinach in it. And also it will make you poop.
Thank you for that.
It's true.
Depending on where you are and where you go, buying vegetables that last long in bulk can be really, really good. Like those big carrots, just make sure that you peel them and wash them before you eat them. But buying those in bulk can be a lot cheaper than other methods, and they last forever. And of course, this is according to space too, but if you buy vegetables and then blanch them, which is where you boil them very briefly and then put them in cold water and then you can freeze them and it preserves them. If you have any access to a real kitchen or say you go home to visit your family at times, make a really hearty soup and then freeze it in individual serving size containers and bring it back with you.
Mm-hmm. My mom had this giant lasagna pan, and we'd make this huge thing of spinach lasagna and then freeze it, and then we had lasagna all year round. And that might not be practical if you're living in a dorm, but if you're living at home, it's an option.
Did you know that I didn't know lasagna was supposed to have meat in it? And
yeah, actually, I think it's like a Southern Italian thing to put meat in it. So it was never in our culture to put meat, and my mom doesn't eat much meat to begin with, and also I'm a vegetarian. So yeah, I was kind of surprised that like meat lasagna is the default. I didn't find that out until I was older.
Yeah, I legitimately did not know that chili was supposed to have meat in it until I was like in high school.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. As a vegetarian, I think like a lot of these recipes normally have meat in them, but they work just as fine without.
Hmm. My mom makes a really good meatless chili recipe if you want it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
It can also be vegan if you just don't add cheese.
So can most things, I guess. Not really. Not meat.
Meat can be vegan if you don't add cheese.
A very fun story is my neighbors taught English in Japan as first language English speakers. And they had a friend from America come visit them in Japan, and they were at a restaurant, and the wait staff spoke a teeny bit of English, but not a whole lot. And the neighbor or the friend that was visiting them in Japan, the American, she was like, "Oh yeah, so I'm a vegetarian, so can I get this without meat?" And then they kind of tried their best to translate, like, "Oh yeah, she doesn't eat meat, and like she's vegetarian." And so the wait staff was like, "Oh, okay, we understand." And then they went back into the kitchen with her food that had meat on it, and they cut it into very, very thin slices and brought it back to her.
Oh.
So, little life hack, if you cut your meat very thinly, it's actually vegetarian.
Yeah, life hacks left and right. We're helping the people, spreading our knowledge,
If you ever can't find your car keys in the morning, try sleeping with them in your mouth, because when you wake up in the morning, they'll be the first thing you notice.
I'm really mad that one would work. No,
Yeah.
wouldn't you want to fall asleep?
Maybe. I don't know.
What if you,
I think I could have fallen asleep with a key in my mouth if I was really tired. Maybe if I put it in a plastic bag so it didn't taste too weird.
What if you swallow the bag?
Then you got bigger problems.
I can't.
Well, I think that's going to do it for us on this episode of Woman Lovin' 101.
Yeah, so add us on Neopets. We will leave our usernames in the description.
Alrighty. And you can also find us on Webkins. Just kidding. We don't do that trash.
Yeah. What do you think we are, rich? Actually, I had a lot of Webkins because when they were big, I had a birthday party that year and everybody got me one.
Aw. I had 2 Webkins. They were also presents. Webkins is okay. It just doesn't have the lore of Neopets.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Also,
but to be fair
the
to
design.
Webkins, their site might actually be functional, unlike Neopets, which is dying.
Oh, their site is incredibly functional.
And you can also find us on our Tumblr at womanlovin101.tumblr.com, where you can find out more about us and how to get a question on the show, or email us at womanlovin101@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm. And we will see you next time. Thank you for joining us.
I think we should have an outro. Like,
I don't know, they already learned that I didn't know chili was supposed to have meat in it, and I feel like that's too much of a personal fact.
That makes sense. Then I'll share a fun little tidbit about myself. The other day, I found a wild green onion at the park, just growing there in the middle of the park, and I picked it, and I was very happy.
Was it good?
I don't know, I didn't eat it. I left it at my girlfriend's house. I forgot about it.
Oh, you poor thing.
It was huge, too. I was very